Now look in a little bit more detail around FileStation and just sort of give you an overview around some of the stuff that you can do within there. Now, we did show you in the previous video, if you need to go and do a refresher, we showed you how to go into Control Panel and how to actually create some shares or manipulate some shares and grant specific SMB, AFP, or NFS protocols against it. And we showed you how to access those shares within your Windows or your Mac computer. All right, so if you need a refresher, go and look at that, because this is now assuming that you know those components right from there. Now, from our desktop, you've got FileStation. We looked at this a little bit in that video as well, but we've got our top level, which is our Synology NAS, right? This is the name of my Synology NAS. And then you've got a list of your shares that have been created, that have been defined. Within each of these is your data, the folders, the files, everything that you've sort of created within there. All right, you can easily manipulate this quite easily. You can click on create, you can create a folder, you can create a new shared folder if you so choose to. So I can, as we showed you, we can create folder right from here. We can upload to test folder, to test share as well. So this is something really cool. So the upload is just to the left here. So yes, from a Windows, from a Mac, even from a Linux computer, you can navigate to the share and then navigate to the data, the folders and files that are within that share. And you can upload, you can create folders, you can do everything that you want within there, as long as you're logging in with an appropriate user. And that is now uploaded this particular video directly into test share. All right, I can right click on this and you see there's a whole bunch of settings. These are also available in a folder, right? But I can right click on this and I can play it. Great, I can send it as an email, I can download it. So download means that you're now going to download that file to the computer. So from any computer that's accessible on the network that can see the Synology NAS, if you log into the DSM, right, to the operating system, to what you're seeing right here, you can actually navigate into FileStation and download the file locally to your computer. So you don't have to go and navigate to the share on a Windows or on a Mac computer. You could actually do it all directly from the DSM as well by literally selecting the file and saying download, and it'll download it the same way that it'll download a file that's on the internet via your browser. Okay, you can open up a new tab, you can create a new folder, you can add to archive, so essentially compressing it, really good. You can do the standard features around cut, copy, paste, delete, rename, and other things. You can check out the properties of that particular file, the size of it, the modified date. All right, really, really cool. Who's the owner? Well, admin's the owner. All right, you can change the owner. Now, this is on the actual file itself, okay? So there's a lot of stuff that you can do on the file or on the folder itself from within FileStation. All right, so upload, create, action. Here are all the settings. The same action there. They're all clickable. They're all accessible. Tools. You can select a remote connection. You can connect setups. You can connection lists. We're not going to cover this stuff now, but you can actually essentially initiate specific settings directly from your FileStation and connect to certain things directly from FileStation, but we won't go into too much information there. And then some settings around your FileStation itself. We looked at this in another area around FileStation login. So if you want to log what sort of information is being uploaded, copied, renamed, deleted from FileStation, you can enable that. If you do need that for auditing purposes, enable drag and drop between browsers. That's actually a really cool feature. Other things around enable smart drag and drop, mount connections. We're not going to cover a lot of this stuff, but just be aware that there's a lot of other settings and options that you can actually manipulate within your FileStation itself. All right, so you can set that up as a remote folder, as a virtual drive, if you need to mount it as a virtual drive. Speed limit is a really cool feature because you can actually set within here the speed of your uploads and downloads and things like that from FileStation. So the worst thing that you want to happen is where you are allowing a user to go and download a massive file. Let's say you have a very, very big file on your Synology NAS. It starts to download, and then as a result, other people on the network are affected because there's no more bandwidth. The bandwidth is being allocated and is being dedicated for this one user downloading a whole bunch of stuff. So you can actually limit the speed to only allow a specific user to download or upload a specific speed only. And then that way there's enough bandwidth left over for other activities. All right. And then there's security stuff that you can actually change there as well. Always open HTML files using plain text format. or you can untick that if you don't want that to happen. Other things in here is you can actually search for things within your FileStation. You can change the actual view, right? If you want to change the icon view, I personally like the list view. And then if you want to sort it by specific type or category, you can add additional columns by clicking on these three little dots on the very far right, and then selecting the actual thing that you want to add. So I could say the owner. Well, who's the owner of these? That's root, and then there's admin for all of these others. So that is FileStation. You can use it a lot, you can use it a little. If you want to go and upload, download files, change things directly on the Synology NAS, you can log in, access it all through FileStation. But remembering that the whole point of the Synology NAS is, of course, that you can access SMB, AFP, NFS, shares, and folders from a computer. So you may more than likely be actually adding and uploading files and changing permissions on files directly from Windows and things of that nature, and not so much on the Synology NAS directly on FileStation. But just be aware that that feature is there. It's a really, really good feature, and it just makes managing your files much easier on the NAS itself.